we couldn't keep everyone safe with social distancing. I couldn't work out how I could do it, and I couldn't work out how I could also keep my staff safe. And plus I've got my mum who I visit a couple of times a week, and I didn't want to catch anything that I could then give to her. So there was a few factors that were the reasons why we shut down tutoring. That's a couple of $1,000s a week, frankly, gone. We ended up having to close our front door. That was not because the government said we had to, because as many of you would know, the government did not tell retail businesses to close their doors. We closed ours because a large part of our customer base have children with disabilities, and we serve them well. We also have a background in disabilities, and we get it. We get that you could have someone with autism come into the store and they might not understand. Their level of intellectual capacity varies, as many would know, with autism. But I had a 14-year-old boy who came into the store while the door was still open, and he picked up a pin art. You know those things that you put your hand or you make impressions on? Yes. He picked up one of those, because we have lots of things for people to try so they can make informed choices with especially with their NDIS funding, and he put it on his face. I nearly had a heart attack. After the family had left, I obviously threw the pin art out, and I don't care about the $30 pin art. That's not the issue. It just made me realise this is going to be tricky for us. 95% of our customers would not have any issues with maintaining social distance, with using good hygiene and our hand sanitizer and things like that. But we've probably got a proportion more than what some other retailers do, where we just can't guarantee it. So we decided to close our doors, but we traded. So talk about pivoting. We traded Starfish takeaway. So we put our window up, and customers could still come to our door. The other things that we did that probably improvised were we have very quickly added a pickup or on veranda pickup option on our website. Another thing that we did, we figured out that there was because I'm a grandma, that I might not be able to see some of my grandkids, and I was missing them, but I could still send them packages. So we started a hashtag, send a package, stay connected, from you to them, and promoted that all over our social media. We also added a gift wrapping option to our website, but a lot of people do that. That's no big deal. But we added a drop down so that people could write a personal message to their loved one, and we would handwrite it for them and put it in with their goodies that they were sending. That has been a big hit. That was, surprised me. What else did we do? We have had hand sanitizer, a system installed on our wall that will be regularly maintained. Some other things. We offered on FaceTime virtual shopping assistance, where they could register on Facebook and lock in a half-hour slot. That was warmly received, and it was actually loads of fun doing that. Sometimes it resulted in good sales. Sometimes it resulted in one in particular. They bought a $6.95 pencil grip, and even then they came to the shop and picked it up. And it was half an hour of my time. But, I sort of figured it was a good chance to practice. I haven't promoted that whole idea of scheduling a virtual session because we've been too busy. Fortunately for us, our systems were in place online, and we were able to absolutely pursue that with gusto. One of my boys, Billy, he takes care of our Google advertising, and that has probably, we did get told when we first got into Google advertising and the various forms that that can take, that it takes about 3 months to translate into any substantial increase in your turnover. And yep, that's right. We noticed a difference after about 4 weeks. After about 8 weeks, I think Billy was on about 500%. So if you spend $1, you'd make $5 worth of sales. Now we're up to nearly 2,000%. It's incredible. That's a mixture of Google advertising and also a lot of people shopping online. So we were just very, very fortunate to have had our systems in place, and those systems were like literally only weeks before COVID hit. So it was not good planning on my part. It was just good fortune that our systems were in place. Yeah. We've had to put on staff because, yeah, we've had, yeah, our online, and we're very, very active on social media, very active. And we've also got, I don't know, maybe nearly 2,500 people on our monthly newsletter. And that we promote that's growing. Yeah, so I'll just look at my notes to see if there was a few other things that we did. I liked what you were saying before, Leanne, about, talking to people. I tell you what, I've been picking your brains when I am lucky enough to run into you as I head down to Boat Harbour. I talk to our suppliers. I watch social media to see what our potential, like our customer base, like our families, our grandparents, what they're talking about, to try to work out what they need and what we could do to better serve them. Talk to our staff. I've picked, because we're an education store, I've rung and spoken with different teachers, trying to work out what might be needed so that I could rapidly order stock, because I'm telling you, there's stuff, it was selling out. Like the minute Scott Morrison's wife, Jenny, said that she'd gone to get jigsaws, I was on the lounge that night. I said to my husband, Richard, oh my gosh, we need to get our jigsaws online. And I tell you, I was lucky. I happened to have about 20 photos on my phone. I sat on my lounge right there and then and added, and they were sold out. I reckon I did a massive order the very next day, and pretty well they were all sold out within a week. So watching to see and asking people and noticing what people were saying they were needing or what they were doing at home has influenced my stock purchasing decisions, and which things we were focusing on with our Google advertising has definitely been influenced by trying to get a measure of what people are needing. An example of that would be a girl came into the shop, and she actually, we're not allowed to say it on social media, but she actually does the costume designs for Cirque du Soleil, and she's out of a job. Everybody that works for Cirque du Soleil got sent back to their countries of origin, and she came in with an idea for masks, face masks, and good idea, let's do it. So she did adult, she did child, and then we came up with the idea of making them for dolls and teddies as well, so that you could help reduce anxiety, especially for people with disabilities. And they took off. And plus, it's not just about the sales, it's about being proactive and sending, as you said, Leanne, a positive message on social media. So that's about it. Any questions?
I do. So, because I'm interested in this, because as you said, a lot of these things you'd already started to develop before COVID hit. So But what I'm interested in is, so moving forward now, when the curtain of COVID lifts and we all go back to ordinary living, how will that change your old model of how your retail front looks?
Yeah. Okay. So we are making very tentative steps. I can't see it going back to the way it was, exactly the way it was. I started some tentative tutoring with social distance last week, and I'm just frankly working out what systems we need to put in place, but I doubt I'll go back to how the level of frequency, the number of people that we had. Another thing, we've opened our front door, but this morning I've already had two, I was going to say difficult, challenging families, or families with significant challenges. One, there's a family had an 18-year-old girl who is an extreme absconder, unsafe, and very violent. And she had her 3-year-old son here who's just been diagnosed with level 2 autism. They were waiting on the veranda because we've got a one family in the store policy at the moment.
Okay. And
yet they were going to leave because they couldn't keep the 18-year-old on the veranda while they were waiting for the family that were currently being served, who also has some challenges. So yeah, look, I've got, watch this space, Leanne. There's going to be some, so one of the things that we're looking at, Billy, who's, as I mentioned, he's my third son. He's the one that manages the back end of the website and the Google advertising. He runs our Instagram feed as well and our newsletter. He's looking at a plug-in to our website. So we use WordPress and WooCommerce that people can schedule an appointment, a half-hour block. We do get a lot of families come and they'll stay for an hour and a half because there's so much for them to flaming do. You know, there's swings for them to try, and so we're our own worst enemies in that regard. But we do need to, in a nice way, send the message, look, we want you to come in, we want you to try things, but you can't stay for hours because other people have needs too. But it's also about, the longer you're here, the more risk there is with COVID to yourself and to everybody else. And I'm not very good at stringing words together. So our Belinda, who did our rebranding, she's currently working on 3 different signs that will have leading into our store that will nicely say all the things that we need to say to keep everyone safe. So I can see in the future a really exciting opportunity for our business and for other businesses. My brother Rod says that whoever does it first owns it. So in our line of work, so our education, sensory, special needs retail store, I hope that we will be the first business to be able to offer scheduled virtual sessions where you get a staff member to help support you, to walk you around the store, to show you different things, to help you make informed purchasing decisions, where we hope to have that up and running by the end of the week. And that way we won't have to rely on FaceTime. People could have the option of Zoom, they could have the option of FaceTime, they could have the option of Messenger. We're looking at all of those. So we had a staff meeting this morning because we also need that for in-store as well. But do we offer them both on the one diary? So, because technically, if we had the staff, we could staff the virtual sessions at the same time as somebody comes into the store. If I've got sufficient trained staff. That's probably my big issue. So at the moment, we're going to be running only one booking system. So you either, say you book from 1 till 1:30, it will either be virtual or in store, because frankly, I just don't have enough trained staff. So but I can see that would stay, and I think it's an amazing opportunity. It was on my mind years ago, and I suppose I thought it'd be too hard, but it's not. It's easy, isn't it? Like, look at us logged onto Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that option. Yeah, and I hope that we're first.
I can just hear it. It'll be the new starfish method.
Oh, you got to try. You've just got to really stay constantly. You can't rest on your laurels. No. Even without COVID, you have to be constantly morphing. Yeah.
Recreating and revisiting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think that we will. I think for us, because we were set up online, and because online has been a godsend for us with COVID. But what happens when everything goes back? We're through the other side of COVID. Will online drop off? Yes, it will. Maybe not to what it was. How are we planning to address that? It's by being very aggressive with our Google advertising, frankly. Yeah. To make sure that our online doesn't drop off too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Kirsty. And yours is such a fabulous, great story in that it is hard work. Whilst when you're telling us how you've developed and changed and updated, I understand a lot of that is very stressful, because we all know nobody is particularly good with change. So when you've got to work at something and make it work in the environment and try and cover off all of the possibilities, but I think you've done a really fantastic job. And I love the fact that you can still continuing to think about what can happen and change in the future. I do love that you've taken a method and made it more personalised, when I don't know that there were personal shoppers exist in the women's fashion range. I know that they exist, but possibly that is the beginning of the new future of retail, where it is very specific to the customer, rather than allowing people just to wander through a store or any retail space.
When you think about it, like, you really can, and it's about habits. It's about people. COVID forced us all. I'd never Zoomed. Has everyone else Zoomed before?
Rarely.
No. And look at us, we're Zooming. It has forced us all to learn how to do this. It's forced us all to change our habits. So there really are some opportunities to jump onto those. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. I hope I haven't made it sound like it was easy, because behind the scenes there've been some major stresses. Our website crashed on a Sunday for 9 hours, and I would have lost thousands of orders or dollars worth of orders. That was stressful. We integrated our website with our point of sale system in store, that barcode scanner thing. Yep. We wanted them to be able to talk so we could manage the stock. So if something's sold online, it would be taken off the shelf so that no one could come in and buy it off the shelf, because that obviously, if I haven't got it, I can't sell it and I'd have to give the money back. That's a headache.
Yep.
But when we did that, a third of our product descriptions disappeared. And there was a couple of, it was very, very stressful. Yeah, I was writing product descriptions in my sleep. So online doesn't go smoothly. Yeah, there's always hiccups. Yeah, but it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that it will be a new way of shopping. I think it'll be very convenient. And it's interesting that when you say that, you could actually then be located anywhere. What I've always thought is interesting over the last few years is talking to businesses in Sydney where they're paying big rents
Yeah.
to be located close to where their client base is. But if it was virtual shopping, then they could almost be anywhere. And if you can cut those costs, and what COVID has taught us, how important keeping our overheads and our fixed costs down, so that if when hiccups happen, that you can actually control your business and manage
That's one thing too, Leanne. I think I'm mindful. I'm trying really hard, hopefully by this week, any outstanding. So I'm trying to pay for all of my stock either on ordering or when it arrives. I think that our business will be okay, but you don't know. COVID shows you anything can happen. So I'm trying to make sure that we've got no outstanding accounts, that everything is paid up and we're paying as we go. That's one thing I'm trying to do, because just trying to protect the business and our staff, from a possible, if it all just backfires on us. And in terms of overheads, that has been very much in my mind, and we're looking at relocating our business. We might actually end up in Gerringong, just trying to find the right premises. Because you really can. And if you've got a niche, people will still drive to you if you make it worth their while, if you give them a really good experience and that it's worth coming to you. So even the ones that want to come to the store will drive to you if it's worth their while.
Interesting, isn't it? And what was I going to say? There was something. It's gone. But and I think that's the lesson for everybody in business. I think it's a great time to sit back and for all businesses to have a look at that, how they actually structure their businesses and the possibility of making changes to reduce those overheads. Because I think this is the first time that we've known this style of disruption to our businesses ever, certainly in all the years I've been in business. But I don't know that it'll be the last. I think disruption is in for the long haul. I think we're going to know more and more of it. And the more we learn around resilience and understanding and appreciation of keeping the bases of our business under control, the less stress it'll create on us as each disruption hits us. As you said, even for those businesses online, websites going down, which seems to be even the bigger retail centres still have that issue with their online going down, and it can be so disruptive to their business. But thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think it is really important when we live in a small regional LGA to really have a look at how others in our own area are doing business, and you're a great leader in showing the rest of the community how it can still be done, and thinking about and considering. And now I remember what it was. And I did speak about it earlier, but I think it's so significantly important. Talk to your client base, understand what it is they are needing, and how you can supply it maybe in a different format or a different manner, and think outside the square a little bit. I think, as you say, some of life will change forever now, and it'll be interesting to see how the buying habits of people will differ.
If anyone wants to, I've had a couple of people contact me to find out how we're doing, like the Google advertising and all of that. We do a little bit of social media ads manager, but frankly, we spend money on Google, not on our Facebook and Instagram generally. If anyone, I've had a few people come and I've spoken with them and showed them or told them what we're doing. If anyone does need or want just to ask me how we got into it, I am not an expert. Billy knows what he's doing. I don't. I just pay him. But if anyone wants, some info, then I'm more than happy. They can just email me or ring me or whatever. Alrighty.
Great.
Great sessions. I really appreciate all your work, Leanne. I've been watching your videos. I've been following you on social media. Fantastic stuff. It's been really useful.
Thank you. It's all I think in the current situation, it's all about us all looking after one another, and we are a community, and more important than ever to work together with people rather than feeling like everybody's in competition to one another. I think it's a time when we all get to value the importance of each other in our community and what we supply and support. So thank you all again for logging in to watch this webinar this week. And thank you very, very much, Kirsty, for sharing your story with us. I think they're important stories, and I think it's much better and easier for people. I can give examples of how people can change their businesses, but it's great to actually be able to speak to people and hear how they're actually doing it for themselves. So thank you very much for sharing and being so open and honest with us about how that worked. So I'll sign off from here from Megan Hutchison and myself.
Bye all.
And we'll be back on next Monday. I think next Monday we're moving to 10 a.m. because Megan's got a clash with some state government group that apparently won't change their commencement time. So we'll see you all again next Monday about 10 a.m. And until then, have a careful week. Hopefully this week will be a little bit calmer and we might even get some more great news and some more openings and a little bit more freedom. So let's see what happens, and hopefully no spike in any more COVID cases. So stay safe, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye. Bye all. Bye.